Welcome to Tales Unfold. Today, we will explore an inspiring story about recognizing your own strengths and practicing diligently to achieve success. Everyone has their unique talents, and when you persistently train with a positive spirit, you can reach beyond what you imagine. Moreover, throughout this journey, you will learn interesting English vocabulary and how to use it in real situations, making learning English easier, more natural, and full of joy. David is a 12-year-old boy living in a peaceful town. He is in 6th grade and has a strong passion for soccer. Every afternoon after school, David runs to the nearby soccer field to practice his skills, sweat, smile, and truly feel alive when playing the sport he loves. On the field, he is the leader, the playmaker, the goal scorer, a little star in the neighborhood. However, this joy did not last forever. One day, after receiving his math test results, David sat gloomily on the sofa. He stared at the book, then leaned back with eyes full of disappointment. Despite trying hard, he still didn't get good results. What saddened David more was his best friend, Matt, who was naturally good at math. Matt often scored high and seemed to never struggle with numbers. David felt inadequate. Why can't I be good at math like Matt? He wondered. The sadness came not just from the scores, but from feeling like he lacked something important, a clear strength at school. At that moment, David didn't realize that this would open a deep learning journey and 3 memorable lessons from his father, a journey that helped him understand his true value. That afternoon, noticing David's visible sadness, his father decided to take him to the small garden behind their house. A quiet place shaded by trees where the chirping of birds could be heard among the leaves. This space had long been a place where father and son shared deep stories. He gently placed his hand on David's shoulder and began to speak in a warm, deep voice. David, today I want to teach you 3 important lessons. Lessons that, if you understand, will stay with you for life. Though still a little sad, David looked up with curious eyes. He nodded and softly replied, "Please, Dad, I'm ready to listen." His father smiled kindly and said, "The first lesson you will learn tomorrow. Invite your friend Matt, the one you always compare yourself to play soccer with you." David was a bit surprised but agreed. He didn't fully understand the meaning yet, but his trust in his father made him not hesitate. The next morning, the weather was clear and cool, a perfect afternoon for soccer. After school, David invited Matt to join him and their friends on the field. The game began, and within minutes, the difference was clear. David skillfully dribbled, passed accurately, and scored 3 goals. Meanwhile, Matt fumbled, lost the ball many times, and seemed a bit lost on the field. But everyone was happy and cheered enthusiastically. The match ended with laughter ringing out. That evening, David met his father again in the garden. He excitedly said, "I played really well, Dad. I scored 3 goals. Matt, he's not used to playing soccer, so he didn't do so well." His father nodded and gently replied, "You see, Matt might not be good at soccer, but he's good at math. Just like you may not be as good at math as Matt, but you are very good at sports. The first lesson is everyone has their own strengths. Instead of being sad because you are not like someone else, be proud of being yourself." David felt awakened. He suddenly realized he had been too hard on himself by comparing his weaknesses to others' strengths. He smiled, a light and deep smile. "So what is the second lesson, Dad?" David asked immediately, his eyes bright with curiosity. His father answered, "Tomorrow, observe Matt at school. Pay attention to what he does, especially when learning math." The next day, David did exactly as his father said. He noticed Matt always found opportunities to work with numbers. In class, he eagerly raised his hand when the teacher gave a problem. During recess, he solved math puzzles on scrap paper. Even when walking past the school garden, Matt stopped to count the petals of a daisy. He didn't just learn math in class, he lived math. That afternoon, David returned home with much to share. In the familiar garden, he said to his father, "Dad, I noticed Matt. He does math all day. Both when studying and playing, there are always numbers in his mind." His father smiled, placed a hand on David's shoulder, and said, "That is the second lesson. Being good at something is the result of regular practice. Matt is good at math because he loves it and practices it every day, just like you with soccer. To be good, you must practice. There is no shortcut." David nodded, full of motivation. He realized that although he wasn't good at math yet, if he persisted, He still had a chance. "So what about the last lesson?" he eagerly asked next. His father looked up at the sky for a moment and slowly said, "How many times better do you think Matt is at math than you?" David thought and replied, "Maybe 3 times better." His father nodded. "Then tomorrow, study math 3 times harder than usual." David took a deep breath. He knew this would be a tough challenge, but he wanted to try. The next day, after school, David did not go to the field as usual. Instead, he sat at his desk, opened his math book, and focused intensely. 1 hour passed, then 2. By the 3rd hour, his head began to ache, his vision blurred. Before finishing the last exercise, he collapsed on the desk, exhausted, and fell asleep. That evening, his father gently woke him. "Time for dinner, then meet me in the garden." David stepped out, feeling disappointed. "Dad, I'm sorry. I tried very hard, but I studied too much, got a headache, and fell asleep." His father smiled kindly and stroked his head. "It's okay, David. I just want you to understand the 3rd lesson. When we try hard at something we don't love, discipline and persistence become burdens. But when we do what we love, every effort feels lighter." He paused, then continued. "So if you want to be skilled and successful, learn what you love, or learn to love what you are learning." David looked at his father with grateful eyes. Those words touched his heart. He understood that success does not come from copying others, but from understanding and developing oneself. From that day on, David no longer compared himself to Matt. He began studying math every day. Not because he had to, but because he learned to love conquering challenges. The 3 lessons from his father became a guiding light for David, not only in learning, but throughout his journey of growth ahead. Sitting beside his father in the quiet garden, David felt something within him was just illuminated. The lessons his father taught not only helped him understand himself better, but also opened a new perspective on the world around him. He realized everyone has their own strengths. Success does not come from comparison, but from persistent practice. And most importantly, to be good at something, either we must love it or learn to love it every day. David looked at his father with a bright smile and said, "I promise to always remember these 3 lessons and carry them with me for life." David's story is not just his own, but a reminder to all of us. Explore your strengths, don't be afraid to practice every day, and never forget that when you do what you love, every effort becomes easier. Just like the journey of learning English, if you practice regularly and find joy in every word and phrase, English will no longer be a challenge, but an exciting companion every day. Thank you for following today's story. If you find it inspiring and helpful for your English learning journey, don't forget to like, leave a comment, and share it with friends to learn together. See you in the next story. You are watching the video on YouTube Tales Unfold.